tonight at 10:30. But now with a full roundup, it's Final Score on BBC One.
Good afternoon. We're on the home straight now. The excitement levels have risen considerably in the Final Score studio because this is the greatest Saturday of the season so far. John Hartson, Matt Holland and Garth Crooks are fizzing with excitement and energy. We're going to feed off that in a moment, but first, we've got all the scores and more in the next 40 minutes for you. We're going to start at Stamford Bridge. What a match it's been there for Chelsea. Of course, they're in second place at the start of today. They're up against Aston Villa, who are chasing fourth spot. David Corrido can tell us what's happened.
Well, it's Chelsea 5, Aston Villa 1. It was meant to be one of the Blues' harder games in the run, and it's proved anything but. Frank Lampard will grab all the headlines with a hat-trick. He opened the scoring, sliding home Florent Molineux's shot, which was going wide, by the way. Villa equalised in similar fashion. John Carrow poking home Ashley Young's fierce effort. But the hosts crucially regained the lead just before half-time as the extremely impressive Yuri Zhirkov was brought down by James Collins. Lampard powering home the penalty 2-1. After the break, the Russians set up Molineux for a volleyed third. Then deja vu for Villa. Zhirkov again upended, this time though by Richard Dunn. And Lampard clinically dispatched the resulting spot kick. So he keeps the match ball and takes his tally for the season to 20. The England midfielder could have had a fourth, but then very unselfishly laid the ball off for Molineux to get number 5. And this after Didier Drogba was left on the bench. Chelsea 5, Villa 1.
Didier who? Let's go to St Andrews now. Roger Johnson is there for us. Arsenal started the day in third. They need points if they're going to keep the pressure up on the other two. Roger, how's it gone?
Only on course for one at the moment, though. It's Birmingham 0, Arsenal 0. A stern test for Arsenal's title credentials, which so far they're failing. Birmingham refuse to let them settle. They've conceded only 10 league goals here this season and have seldom been extended by Arsenal so far. The game's most clear-cut opportunity came for Birmingham when Johnson's far post touch came back off the post and deflected over off Scott Dan from 2 yards out. The two managers exchanged angry words during a fractious and disjointed first half. Arsenal now very much on the front foot. They have to be, of course. They brought Arshavin and Nasri on from the bench. Nasri's just brought a save from Joe Hart. This title challenge well and truly being put under the microscope for them. It's 0-0 with a quarter of an hour to go.
The race for fourth place is so exciting this season, isn't it? Andrew James at White Hart Lane. Spurs are in the box seats.
They are, Gabby. They lead by 2-0. Peter Crouch and Nico Cranshaw, both former Pompey players, of course, scoring those 2 goals in the first half. But we knew that HMS Pompey was a sinking ship. But in terms of bad news, we perhaps didn't realise there was more to follow. That has happened, though. Herman Ariderson, their defender, stretchered off early in the second half with what looked like a nasty injury to the leg. It was put in a brace. He was given oxygen. He'll surely miss the FA Cup semi-final between these two sides in a fortnight's time, possibly missing from that as well Michael Dawson, the Spurs captain, who's also limped out of it. It's Spurs 2, Pompey 0.
Let's go to the KC Stadium. Ian Dowie's first match in charge of Hull City at home this afternoon. Damien Johnson can tell us how his afternoon and theirs is panning out.
Pretty well at the moment, Gabby. Hull City 2, Fulham 0. A first-half penalty from Jimmy Bullard against his former club, and Craig Fagan's second-half header have given the home side a Premier League lifeline. Bullard rifled in after Jose Altidore was tripped by Chris Smalling. Fagan dispatched Dean Marnie's cross. Fulham's Zoltan Gera had 2 first-half efforts cleared off the line, but they've been flat since then, and Hull City lead 2-0. Priceless.
That puts pressure on West Ham. Let's go to Upton Park. Andy May, how have they risen to that pressure and the pressure this week exerted on them by one of their co-owners?
They're under massive pressure now. It's 1-0 to the away side. Stoke City are leading. West Ham heading for defeat number 6 in a row. A few minutes ago, Ricardo Fuller came off the bench to score a terrific goal. The striker, who has apparently had food poisoning this week, skipped by Faubert and then by Upson and just thumped the ball past Green. Despite the scoreline, the Hammers haven't disgraced themselves this afternoon. They were described by David Sullivan, one of the co-owners, as pathetic and shambolic the other day. Parker and Noble have played well in midfield, with Carlton Cole forcing Sorensen to make a couple of decent saves. If it stays like this, though, Gianfranco Zola will be under massive, massive pressure. West Ham 0, Stoke City 1.
Well, it was Wolves' performance at Upton Park that got the co-owner moaning, wasn't it, and put Zola under pressure. This afternoon, they're back at Molineux up against Everton. Fabio Capello's watching this one, but more importantly for us, Ivan Gaskell is.
I'm not so sure about that. 0-0 into the last quarter of an hour, all very tight. Everton with a stack of openings, failing miserably to make the most of them. Sahar thundering one against the Wolves bar and steering another chance over the crossbar. Should have done better, really. He's just been replaced by Yakubu. Wolves have been decent, but rarely threatening, and as you say, Fabio Capello is watching. Little, though, so far to lighten that sombre Italian exterior so far. 0-0.
Two American goalkeepers, of course, on show at Molineux this afternoon. Let's go to St Andrews, and Roger Johnson can tell us about that Arsenal disallowed goal.
Yes, it was a disallowed goal from Diaby. It was disallowed because of a challenge on the edge of the penalty area by Fabregas on Barry Ferguson. It seemed like the two of them went together to try and get the ball. Howard Webb was slow in blowing the whistle. Play did go on for a few seconds, in which time Diaby lined up a shot and lashed it in. But as he just shaped to shoot, the whistle retrospectively went for the foul. Arsene Wenger, who's been getting upset about quite a few decisions this afternoon, upset about that one too. The goal was ruled out and it's still 0-0.
Manchester United, of course, are playing today, but not until tea time. They'll be watching with interest what's going on at Stamford Bridge and at St Andrews, but there they are arriving at the Reebok Stadium to play Bolton, and I can tell you they're doing so without Wayne Rooney. The England striker has been carrying this knee injury. He hobbled a little bit after the game against Liverpool. He's not in the squad for that game against Bolton, and that's all we can tell you about the knee at the moment. Is it just a precaution? Of course, they're in action against Bayern Munich in the week in the Champions League. Maybe that's part of Alex Ferguson's thinking. I know, John Hartson, you said you just can't ask Wayne Rooney to take it easy. He goes all guns blazing, so you've got to keep him out. But let's talk about the Arsenal disallowed goal. Did you see it, John?
Yes, I did, yeah, and we quite couldn't understand why the foul was given on the edge of the box, really. It was a 50-50 between an Arsenal and a Birmingham player.
Fabregas was involved.
Strong challenge. Then Diaby picked it up and he used his body strength, didn't he, to take out the Birmingham player. I think it was the Fabregas tackle that the whistle had blown for, not the second challenge from Diaby.
But it looked like he played advantage.
He was slow to blow his whistle, Howard Webb. He let play continue, and then Diaby, just as he was about to strike the ball, the whistle went, so it was a late one.
6 seasons now, this will be, that Frank Lampard has scored at least 20 goals in a season. I mean, it's just... this is supposed to be his quiet season. He wasn't playing so well, they all said. 20 goals.
Well, I suppose people might say that if Frank Lampard's not scoring goals, then yes, he's not doing what he does best. What is it, 20 goals in 6 consecutive seasons? Makes him possibly the best attacking midfield player in the world.
Ridiculous.
There's no one else to compete with him. 120 goals in, 6 seasons?
More than that.
Unless you're talking someone like Ronaldo, but he's not really a midfielder.
Frank's got something like 160 goals for Chelsea from midfield.
Unbelievable.
It's obscene, really. They'll make him a sir if he carries on.
There's no one better at it, though, ghosting into the box late.
He's just phenomenal. He's so prolific and consistent.
Well, his old club, West Ham, unfortunately can't get any consistency apart from, well, heading towards another defeat today, Matt Holland. At the moment, the way things stand, they're on level points with Hull City. It changes the fabric of that whole relegation fight, doesn't it?
It's incredible. I mean, you know, West Ham started off quite poorly. Stoke were out the traps very quickly, but they responded and they seemed to grow in confidence as the game went on. But then Ricardo Fuller scored a wonder goal to take the lead at Upton Park. He's danced through 3 or 4 challenges. Once he's in the box, West Ham can't make a tackle. And, and then he fires it into the back of the net.
Let's go to St Andrews. That's why Garth said, "Oh." Roger Johnson, what does "oh" mean?
O means it's Birmingham 0, Arsenal 1, and O means that Samir Nasri has just scored a peach of an individual goal. He picked the ball up on the right-hand side in a bit of space, midway inside the Birmingham half, right out on the touchline. Started off on an angled run in field and lashed it unerringly past Joe Hart into the far corner of the Birmingham net. Nasri, on from the bench, has just breathed life back into Arsenal's title challenge. A wonderful goal with 10 to play. It's Birmingham 0, Arsenal 1.
Second from bottom Plymouth in the Championship are a goal down. Blackpool, former manager Ian Holloway, of course, he's taken his side there at the moment. Plymouth heading for defeat, but there's a goal to tell you about at Stamford Bridge. David Garrido.
Go on, 3 guesses. No, it's Chelsea 6, Aston Villa 1 now. Nicholas Anelka twisting and turning, another unselfish bit of play. Laid it off for Solomon Kalou, and he arrowed it in off the far post. Villa's manager taunted by chance of Martin Giveaway from the home supporters. Suffice to say, he hasn't waved. He's surprised. Chelsea 6, Aston Villa 1.
How crucial to the whole title race could Nasri, who didn't start the match, John, of course, that goal could be just, vital to keep this alive, couldn't it?
It's massive for Arsenal's chances, Gabby. There's been some big results in the Premier League today. Hull, I would say, will go and win now. We're home to Fulham. Chelsea scoring 6 against Villa. Nobody could have foresaw that before the games today. But this goal at St Andrews, for me, is the biggest one of all.
Can I just ask you, because we don't very rarely get time to have considered chats, do we, in this show? Things move at pace. What's happened to Villa today, Garth?
They've capitulated, to be fair, but then I said earlier in the show that I think the sting and the hurt that Chelsea received from Jose Mourinho, dumping them at the Champions League and the way they did, Chelsea are like a wounded animal. They've gone 5 at Portsmouth, 6 today. I think that's why I've called them champions, and they've responded very quickly. Just let me say, in terms of the way in which Arsenal have come back here, I think has been sensational. They've taken risks and they've nailed it.
Well, let's go to the Ricoh Stadium. We've seen the goal through on the video printer there for Coventry. Harry Grayson can tell us about that equaliser.
Well, it must be said, it was looking like Sheffield Wednesday were going to take all 3 points here until Richard Wood's header was a bit of a speculative through ball. He managed to connect, though, pretty well. He's got the equaliser, and Wednesday really have been the better side. 1-1.
And I mentioned it a moment ago, the goal at Home Park, but Hamish Marshall can tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's Plymouth 0, Blackpool 1. Charlie Adams shot his 16th goal of the season from about 15 yards out. He'd gone close twice before, hitting the post on one occasion. It keeps Blackpool's playoff hopes alive in what's been a really open and even game until now. Blackpool lead 1-0.
Newcastle United not playing today in the Championship. This result, if it is a result indeed, the scoreline at the moment anyway at the Madejski will please them, Mark Bishop.
It certainly will. Reading 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. The Championship's 2 informed sides have slugged this one out like 2 heavyweight boxers. Reading transformed, and they're odds on for their 10th victory in their last 12 matches. Sigurdsson's early goal has proved the crucial deciding factor so far. There's been a frenzy of attack from both sides. West Bromwich Albion throwing everything at Reading. A Tamas and another one from Wood. Great saves from Federici, but it's Reading who lead by 1-0.
Ross County 4th in Scottish Division 1 have got an equaliser there. Stephen Craig on 87 minutes. Dundee top of that division. Let's go and see what's going on at Pride Park. Derby 1, Leicester 0. Any signs of a late equaliser, Alan Biggs?
Well, there's a chance for one for Michael Morrison there, hitting it straight at the keeper. An isolated threat. We've been hearing a lot, Gabby, about gift aid lately. That's exactly what Derby have got today. For the neutrals, light relief rather than sports relief. As comical an own goal as you could see, credited against Leicester's Andy King in the first half, but his keeper Chris Wheel, the big villain, for unaccountably failing to clear an easy back pass. Watch it later, you won't believe it. Leicester the better team in the first half, forcing saves. Derby mostly in control of the second, but a tight finish here. Derby 1, Leicester 0.
Rock bottom of the Championship are Posh. They're at home this afternoon to Bristol City. News this week that Jim Gannon, who only took over in February, doesn't want to stay on beyond the end of the season. Let's go to London Road and check in with Tony Lockwood. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gabby. At the moment, it's all about City and a revival under their caretaker boss, Keith Millen, continuing at pace. A set-piece goal lit up what was a desperately poor encounter. Paul Hartley's corner. Substitute David Clanson's glancing header was absolutely spot on. Peterborough with endeavour, no real quality, and this would be a 4th straight defeat for the Championship's basement club. Peterborough 0, Bristol City 1.
Well, they're the joint top-scoring side in League One, Norwich, and they're playing the second-place side at Carrow Road. But, Joe Speck, that doesn't mean there's goals or excitement.
No, surprisingly, it's still goalless. A day with the sort of atmosphere and air of the big time that these two teams long for once again. Norwich were 11 points behind Leeds after these two teams met back in October. A win today will see Norwich open up an 11-point lead over today's opponents and surely put one foot in the Championship. It's been a feisty affair with a relentless pace, and it's opened up after half-time, but still neither goalkeeper's made a save, and we played 86 minutes. Leeds have been the better side, only 2 half chances to tell you about. A Grant Holt volley for Norwich, a Robert Snodgrass volley for Leeds. Both sides might take a point, but I would not rule out a late winner.
If Leeds United's season had started when they knocked Manchester United out of the FA Cup, they'd be 18th today. They're not, they're second, but only just. They need that point, though, because the way Millwall are going at the Den, Lindsay Hooper, well, they're going to take maximum points, aren't they?
Well, they definitely are. Millwall 5, Stockport 0. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 6. There's a stop in play at the moment. Rain is belting down. Now, if Millwall didn't send a strong enough message to Leeds on Monday night after beating them 2-0, this result should do it. 2 own goals and then goals for Morrison, Schofield and Obika. There's some players rested as well because I think Kenny Jackett thinks this one's in the bag. It certainly is. Millwall 5, Stockport 0.
It would look that way, but of course we said Reading were playing so well, weren't they, Mark Bishop? But it would appear their endeavours might be in vain at the Majewski.
It does indeed, Gabby. It's Reading 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. 3 minutes to go and 2,000 Baggies fans behind that goal trying to suck in the winner. It's been a terrific fight back from West Brom. They were overwhelmed in the first half, but this time Dorrans, my man of the match, stepped up from the corner kick, swung in a great corner. Olsen smashed the ball against the crossbar. The ball ricocheted out, and there was Gabriel Tamas to slide the ball past Federici. It's game on, it's 1-1.
Is it a comeback for West Ham? Are they playing well enough, Andy May, to get something out of this match at Upton Park with just minutes to go there?
They're making the chances, Gabby. They're just not finishing them off. Hammer's sub, Elan, has just fired over at the far post, and a Diamante cross had a bit too much on it for Mido. Parker also shot wide from well outside the box. It looks like the points belong to Stoke.
Let's go to St Andrews. Birmingham 0, Arsenal 1. Samir Nasri with the goal. Roger Johnson, how have Birmingham responded?
They've responded by bringing a couple of strikers on. Chucho was already on the pitch, but Kevin Phillips has come on as well now. Birmingham not taking this lying down, but Arsenal coming forward again with Arshavin just checked there on the edge of the penalty area. The Gunners will have a free kick. They have 2 minutes to hold on. 1-0 to the Arsenal still.
Let's go to Celtic Park. Of course, Rangers played at lunchtime. They won 4-1 at Tynecastle. Brian McLaughlin is at Celtic Park for us, and of course, under new management.
Yes, and it looks like Neil Lennon's reign as caretaker boss will begin with a win. They lead by 3-1. We're into the first of 2 additional minutes. Robbie Keane with a double. Scott Brown recalled this afternoon after recovering from injury. He scored Celtic's third. Craig Bryson pulled one back for Kilmarnock with 18 minutes left in the clock. But it looks like Neil Lennon's reign is going to get off to a winning start. It's Celtic 3, Kilmarnock 1. We're now just entering the second minute of additional time.
Lennon, imagine. OK, let's go to Stamford Bridge. David Garrido, it's not an Aston Villa comeback, is it?
No, I don't think so, Gabby. It is Chelsea 7, Aston Villa 1, and guess who? Frank Lampard smashing the ball home as it bobbed up and down in the Villa penalty area. They couldn't clear it, and Lampard has now 4 for the game, 21 for the season. Not a smile still from Carlo Ancelotti, but his Chelsea side lead by 7-1.
There's goal news at last to tell you about at Carrow Road. Joe Spate, which way's it gone?
It's gone for Norwich. It's taken 89 minutes in coming, and Chris Martin off the bench has scored his 21st goal this season with a bullet header from close range. Norwich heading 11 points clear at the top of League One and surely heading for the Championship. Euphoric scenes here at Carrow Road. But what will this mean for Leeds United? Norwich 1, Leeds 0.
Goal news in League 2. It's Notts County, Rotherham. You can't get a piece of paper between these ones, but somebody has scored. John Rawling.
Notts County have after 90 minutes, and it came in the simple Route 1 fashion. Long clearance from their goalkeeper, Casper Schmeichel. Lee Hughes headed on, and it was little Luke Rogers who got in, used his pace, left-footed, off the roof of the net and putting Notts County deservedly ahead. They'd hit the post, they'd hit the bar in the first half. They've dominated. Rotherham had led a charmed life, but County now look as though they're going to take 3 points from this vital match.
Notts County second and third they are with Rotherham, but at Rochdale, well, things a little bit makes more straightforward, Andy Barwell.
Yes, it's 4-1 to Rochdale, a Chris Dagnall hat-trick. 20 goals for the season from him now. Rochdale had been a little edgy, but the result is now beyond doubt. Another step for Rochdale towards their first promotion in over 40 years. Rochdale 4, Grimsby 1.
Let's go to Holby City. I mean, White Hart Lane, Andrew James, more injury news.
Oh, it's just absolutely desperate. I think even the Southampton fans will feel sorry for Portsmouth today, Gabby. They're chanting, always look on the bright side of life, the Portsmouth fans. What's happened here is that David James went down with an injury a few moments ago. Pompey had already made 2 substitutions. That gave them 1 left. But before they could make the change, they then lost Danny Webber to another injury. He's gone off on a stretcher, just as Herman Ariderson did earlier, and they had to make the decision, do we send a sub on for the goalkeeper or do we send a sub on for Webber? They sent on Jamie Ashdown for David James, so Pompey down to 10 men and losing 2-0.
Drama at St Andrews, Roger Johnson.
Listen to the noise. It's Birmingham 1, Arsenal 1, and it's the 250th club goal of Kevin Phillips' career, which has put a real hammer blow to Arsenal's title hopes. The ball played in, came off a defender as the Arsenal tried to clear. It went up into Phillips' face virtually as the ball was dinked into the box towards him. A hand from Almunia wasn't enough to keep it out, and it looped over him under the crossbar. A scrappy goal, but a hugely important goal. Arsenal had 2 earlier opportunities to make it 2-0. They couldn't take them. It could prove costly. Into the final minute of added time now, 1-1.
Let's go to Molineux. No goals, Ivan Gaskell. Is there going to be a late winner?
Don't know. Everton are odds on to score it if they do, but they're running out of seconds. They've missed so many chances and another one's gone begging. Tim Cahill scooping the ball past Hanneman. This time Craddock cleared it off the line. It's still 0-0, bizarrely.
It's all over at Stamford Bridge, and David Garrido, what an afternoon. Chelsea singing in the rain and probably dumping Aston Villa as well out of that race for 4th place, but it's full time as well at St Andrews, and Roger Johnson, not enough time there for Arsenal to get that winner. Birmingham City effectively, and
Kevin Phillips' terrific run. There's a question mark about whether he maybe was offside, but I think it was Benitez who was in an offside position.
Yes.
Phillips timed his run to perfection, but the goalkeeper should really have saved it.
They'd only beaten them once in 11 matches before this, but they've got an amazing home form. We should have seen it coming, shouldn't we?
Well, I thought that Arsene Wenger responded brilliantly with the 2 substitutions, Arshavin and Nasri. Nasri scores the goal. I think they've nailed it. But to be fair to Birmingham, they've come back in, and there's a moment of confusion in the Arsenal defence that lets in Phillips. He nails the ball. 1-1, and I'm not sure about the goalkeeper, Almunia. I think Almunia should have done better.
Judge for yourself on Match of the Day tonight, of course, but also big news at Upton Park this afternoon. Andy May was there for us. It didn't go the way Zola would have liked to have responded to Sullivan's criticisms, did it?
Not at all. It's defeat number 6 in a row for West Ham. Unlike Tuesday night when they were well beaten by Wolves, the Hammers were far from pathetic and shambolic. Parker and Noble made chances, but Cole, Meadow and Elan failed to convert them. Stoke are heading back to the Midlands with all 3 points thanks to a superb solo effort from Fuller. He danced and skipped through the West Ham backline and neatly slotted the ball past Green. Relegation for Sullivan, Gold and Gianfranco Zola is starting to look very real. West Ham 0, Stoke City 1.
Well, it is, because they're now level on points with Hull City, and Damien Johnson can tell us how that evolved at the KC Stadium.
Yes, a must-win, and Hull City have won 2-0 here against Fulham. It was the former Fulham man Jimmy Bullard who set them on their way, burying a spot kick after Chris Smalling tripped Josie Altidore in the box. The impressive Craig Fagan nodded in the second just after the restart. Fulham clearly had one eye on their Europa League quarter-final on Thursday with Wolfsburg. There was no Zamora, Duff or Murphy. Gira had a couple of first-half efforts cleared off the line by Boateng and Muyokolo, but they hardly threatened in the second half. Hope springs eternal for Ian Dowie and Hull City.
The only match with no goals in the Premier League today was at Molineux. You did have Jackie Graham singing at half-time, though, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, that was a low point. A real tough old boot of a game. Everton will be kicking themselves. Former Everton striker Graham Sharp is sat next to me. He spent much of the game banging his desk in frustration. So many good openings did Everton contrive to miss here. But credit to Wolves, they more than played their part. Chances aside, they'll no doubt make a case that they deserve the point, which is exactly what they both got, 0-0.
Paul Lambert, well, he stayed loyal to Norwich this week, didn't he? He said he's going nowhere, and the fans must be doubly delighted tonight, Joe Spate. That's a big win at Carrow Road.
could prove to be a monumental day in the course of this League One season. A tight game between the top two decided in the dying seconds. Chris Martin with the only goal. He came off the bench and answered the call for Paul Lambert and for Norwich City. It feels like a promotion party is in full swing at Carrow Road. Norwich now 11 points clear with 8 games to go, but a third straight defeat for Leeds United. They had sub-trestle candles sent off in stoppage time. What a win for Norwich City. The championship beckons, but heartbreak for Leeds. Norwich 1, Leeds 0.
Let's go to Pride Park. Leicester's bad week just got a bit worse. Alan Biggs.
Yes, Derby 1, Leicester 0. Frankly, a pretty dreadful East Midlands derby, and it took a dreadful mistake to settle it. A talking point, at least, from a scrappy error-strewn game. The joke own goal that gave Derby a lead against the run of play. They were the better side in the second half, I have to say, though. Leicester only tested Bywater in the opening period, and this result, another niggle for them. 8 points dropped out of the last 9, but for Derby, their first win in 5 makes them just about safe.
Let's go to the Madejski Stadium. Now, Reading were in the lead for so long, Mark Bishop. They'll feel a little bit like a kick in the teeth to them, won't it, this result?
Well, a little bit, Gabby, but well-deserved for Albion. 1-1, it's finished. Roberto Di Matteo's high flyers. They left it late. A deserved point in the end, though. Tamas smashing the ball past Federici after Olsen's header had smashed back off the crossbar from a Doran's corner. Reformed and revitalised, Reading had bossed the first half. They were stupendous. Frenzy of attacks with Sigurdsson scoring early from close range. Sigurdsson, though, surely should have been sent off just before the stoppage time by Andy D'Urso for a blatant foul on Dorrans as he burst clear on goal in stoppage time. As I said, if he had been, would he have scored? That's still the big question. It rankles for 2,000 Albion supporters, but what a game. Reading hang on to their unbeaten home league record of 2010. 1-1 is finished.
Let's go to White Hart Lane, the final that you can get all the build-up and all the goals as they go in from 2:30 every Saturday. All you have to do is press the red button and we're here for you. Time to get the full classified results now with Tim Gudgin.
Starting with the Barclays Premier League, Birmingham City 1, Arsenal 1. Bolton Wanderers and Manchester United kick off at 5:30. Chelsea 7, Aston Villa 1. Hull City 2, Fulham 0. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Portsmouth 0. West Ham United 0, Stoke City 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Everton 0. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Barnsley 0, Doncaster Rovers 1. Coventry City 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Crystal Palace 1, Cardiff City 2. Derby County 1, Leicester City 0. Peterborough United 0, Bristol City 1. Plymouth Argyle 0, Blackpool 2. Preston North End 2, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Reading 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Swansea City 0, Ipswich Town 0. Watford 1, Middlesbrough 1. Coca-Cola League 1, Brentford 1, Leyton Orient 0. Brighton and Hove Albion 3, Tranmere Rovers 0. Bristol Rovers 4, Southend United 3. Colchester United 1, Wycombe Wanderers 1. Exeter City 2, Walsall 1. Gillingham 2, Milton Keynes Doms 2. Hartlepool United 0, Swindon Town 1. Huddersfield Town 1, Charlton Athletic 1. Millwall 5, Stockport County 0. Norwich City 1, Leeds United 0. In League 2, AFC Bournemouth 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Barnet 1, Burton Albion 1. Bradford City 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 3. Bury 1, Aldershot Town 2. Chesterfield 1, Hereford United 2. Lincoln City 1, Northampton Town 1. Macclesfield Town 1, Cheltenham Town 0. Morecambe 2, Torquay United 0. Notts County 1, Rotherham United 0. Port Vale 0, Crewe Alexandra 1. Rochdale 4, Grimsby Town 1. Shrewsbury Town 0, Darlington 2. In the Blue Square Premier, AFC Wimbledon 0, Rushton and Diamonds 1. Barrow 3, Eastbourne Borough 2. Cambridge United 3, Grays Athletic 0. Crawley Town 0, Stevenage Borough 3. Forest Green Rovers 4, Altrincham 3. Kettering Town 2, Mansfield Town 2. Kidderminster Harriers 0, Salisbury City 1. Luton Town 8, Hayes and Yeading United 0. Oxford United 2, Gateshead 1. Wrexham 3, Histon 0. And York City 1, Tamworth 1. In the Clydesdale Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 2, St Mirren 1. Celtic 3, Kilmarnock 1. Dundee United 3, Motherwell 0. Falkirk 1, Hibernian 3. Hamilton Academical 1, St Johnstone 0. And Hearts 1, Rangers 4. In the Arnbrew Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United 3, Greenock Morton 0. Partick Thistle 0, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1. Queen of the South 2, Dunfermline Athletic 0. Wraith Rovers 1, Ayr United 1. And Ross County 1, Dundee 1. Scottish Div 2, Arbroath 0, Alloa Athletic 0. Clyde 2, East Fife 1. Dumbarton 1, Peterhead 3. Stenhousemuir 1, Brechin City 2. Stirling Albion 1, Cowdenbeath 0. And Scottish Div 3, Albion Rovers 1, Annan Athletic 0. Elgin City 0, Forfar Athletic 2. Montrose 1, Berwick Rangers 1. Queen's Park 0, Livingston 1. And Stranraer 2, East Stirlingshire 2. In the Welsh Premier, Casus 2, Frill 2. Carmarthen Town 1, Newtown 2. Haverfordwest County 1, Elements Kefan Druids 0. Neath 0, Bangor City 1. Port Talbot Town 1, Gap Connors Quay 0. And Prestatyn Town 1, Scipio Porthmadog 1.
Let's have a little look then at the Premier League table. Chelsea replaced Manchester United at the top after a spectacular win. And after 12 goals in 4 days, the Blues have a significantly better goal difference than their rivals. But the Red Devils will reclaim top spot if they beat Bolton in the late game. That's a 5:30 kickoff. And that late equaliser at St Andrews keeps the Gunners third. Tottenham tighten their grip on fourth place, but Champions League football looks increasingly unlikely for Villa. At the bottom, defeat at White Hart Lane leaves Pompey on the brink. Relegation could be confirmed next weekend if other results go against them. Hull stay in the bottom three despite beating Fulham, though they leapfrog Burnley, who host Blackburn tomorrow. West Ham are above the Tigers only on goal difference after losing to Stoke. And in the Championship, West Brom miss out on their chance to overtake Newcastle United at the top of the table after drawing at in-form Reading. Newcastle can extend their advantage to 4 points should they beat fellow promotion hopefuls Nottingham Forest at home on Monday night. What a match that promises to be. Cardiff move up to fourth after Swansea were held at home and Leicester slipped to defeat at local rivals Derby. At the bottom, Posh, that's Peterborough, lost at home to Bristol City to slip further off the pace. Plymouth were beaten by Blackpool, while Crystal Palace were also beaten and continue to occupy the final relegation place. Alarmingly for the Eagles, a 4-point gap has now opened up between them and safety. In League One, Norwich are on the verge of an instant return to the Championship after a last-minute winner against their nearest challengers, Leeds United. The Canaries stand proud on top of the perch with an 11-point advantage. Millwall continue to apply the pressure on Leeds after a fourth straight league win. They now trail them on goal difference alone. At the bottom, Stockport County's plight is looking increasingly forlorn after another defeat this afternoon. They're 15 points adrift with 24 left to play for. Wycombe, Southend and Tranmere complete the relegation places. Into League Two, Rochdale's 4-1 win against Grimsby keeps them 10 points clear at the top. Nearest rivals Notts County and Bournemouth both kept pace with the leaders, recording home wins this afternoon. Darlington are 16 points from safety at the bottom despite their second away win of the season. Cheltenham stay 4 points above the relegation zone after their defeat to Macclesfield. Little look at the Blue Square and Stevenage Borough on top of the SPL, the Blue Square even, they're on 78 points. Oxford United behind, 5 points behind now on 73 points. And Luton, 8-0 winners they were this afternoon, also on 73 points. And a little look at the Blue Square Premier bottom. Grays on 20 points now, 14 points adrift of Eastbourne there, who are second from bottom. Ebbsfleet on 35, a point away from Forest Green, who are just out of the drop zone. On to the SPL. Rangers took another step towards the title with victory at Hearts. Celtic won their first game under Neil Lennon to keep the gap to 10 points, but they've played 2 games more than their old firm rivals. Dundee United the third after beating Motherwell. Bottom club Falkirk remained 4 points behind Kilmarnock after they both lost today. So I need to know your performance of the day, and only one of you can have Frank Lampard.
Well, it's got to be Chelsea. To beat Villa 7-1 without their top man, Drogba, has got to be it.
I think the individual brilliance from Ricardo Fuller for Stoke against West Ham. Not a great result for West Ham, but a fantastic individual goal from Ricardo Fuller.
Very good. Thanks for that, Matt. John?
Well, again, Chelsea's the obvious one, but probably the fact that Arsenal conceded so late. Kevin Phillips.
OK, thank you very much, guys. We're continuing on the Red Button with interviews and goals from the Norwich-Leeds game as well. Today, they're at the top of the Premiership. Well, frankly, it was all about Chelsea.